In a tranquil neighborhood where peace was the norm, one veteran on leave found himself at the center of an unexpected confrontation. As he relaxed on his porch, the rumble of approaching motorcycles shattered the calm. Unbeknownst to them, these bikers had picked the wrong person to mess with. With a steely gaze and a quiet determination, the veteran, known for his unyielding spirit, stood his ground. Tensions escalated as words were exchanged, revealing a clash between youthful recklessness and seasoned wisdom. The neighborhood held its breath, unsure of how this standoff would unfold. Little did the bikers know, this veteran was not just any resident. He carried with him the resilience and resolve of years in service. The air hung heavy with anticipation, setting the stage for a showdown that would leave a lasting mark on everyone involved. The veteran's name was Jack, a man who had spent years serving his country and had come home to this quiet neighborhood seeking peace. He wasn't looking for trouble, but trouble seemed to have found him. The bikers, a rowdy group of four, revved their engines loudly, as if trying to assert dominance. Their voices carried through the street, mocking and taunting, their laughter sharp and cutting. Jack stayed calm, but his sharp eyes missed nothing. He noted their patches, their gestures, and the way one of them seemed to be leading the group. The neighbors peeked out from behind curtains, too afraid to step in but unwilling to look away. Jack wasn't one to back down, especially not when he felt his values being challenged. The tension grew, and everyone wondered, what would Jack do next? Jack stood up slowly, his movements deliberate, his calm demeanor masking the storm brewing inside. The leader of the bikers, a wiry man with a smug grin, stepped forward, clearly enjoying the attention. "What's the matter, old man? This your street or something?" He cheered, his voice dripping with mockery. His crew chuckled, their confidence fueled by their numbers. But Jack wasn't rattled. He took a step closer, his presence alone shifting the energy. "It's not about the street," he said evenly. "It's about respect." His voice carried the weight of someone who had seen far worse than this. Meanwhile, the neighbors whispered among themselves, some debating whether to call the police, others just frozen by the unfolding drama. One young boy, watching from a nearby yard, clutched a baseball bat, torn between fear and admiration. The bikers had no idea who they were dealing with, or how far Jack was willing to go to protect the peace. The leader of the bikers smirked and took another step toward Jack, his posture taunting. "Respect, huh? Maybe you should show us some first." His crew revved their bikes in unison, the deafening roar echoing through the street, a deliberate show of power meant to intimidate. Jack didn't flinch. Instead, he glanced at the boy with the baseball bat, giving him a subtle nod that seemed to say, "Asterisk, stay put." Kid asterisk, the boy froze, eyes wide, while the neighbors watched with bated breath, their unease growing with every passing second. The leader reached into his pocket, pulling out something small and shiny, just a lighter. But the gesture was enough to send a ripple of tension through the crowd. Jack's expression hardened. Slowly, he took off his jacket, revealing the scars of his service and a military tattoo on his forearm. The bikers hesitated, their cocky grins fading slightly, but the leader wasn't ready to back down. "You think that scares us?" He sneered, though his voice had lost some of its edge. Jack didn't reply. He simply stood tall, radiating a quiet strength that even the most reckless among them couldn't ignore. The air grew heavier, the standoff teetering on the edge of something none of them could predict. As the tension thickened, the faint sound of another engine echoed from down the street. It wasn't loud or showy, but steady, deliberate. The bikers turned their heads, and Jack's eyes narrowed slightly, though he didn't move. A black truck rolled up and came to a halt a few feet away. The door opened, and out stepped an older man, his frame sturdy. his face weathered with the same grit and experience Jack carried. "Everything all right here, Jack?" the man asked, his voice calm but carrying a weight that silenced even the bikers. Jack gave a small nod, his gaze never leaving the leader of the group. The bikers exchanged uncertain glances. They hadn't planned for reinforcements. The leader, trying to maintain his bravado, gestured at the new arrival. "This your backup, old man? What's he gonna do?" But his confidence wavered when the man leaned against his truck, crossing his arms and locking eyes with the group. Jack finally broke his silence. "That's Mark. We served together. You don't want to know what he can do." The quiet statement hung in the air, heavy with implication. The bikers shifted uneasily, realizing the stakes had just been raised. Still, the leader wasn't ready to back down, and the neighborhood held its breath as the tension reached a breaking point. The leader clenched his fists, his bravado cracking under the weight of the moment. "Fine," he spat, trying to save face. "We'll leave this dump of a street. Not worth our time anyway." He motioned for his crew to back off, but as they started their bikes, the unexpected happened. One of the younger bikers, seemingly emboldened by the retreat, revved his engine and tore a sharp turn, aiming to kick up gravel toward Jack and Mark. Before anyone could react, Jack stepped forward with surprising speed, his military instincts taking over. He grabbed the front of the bike, forcing it to a halt, the move shocking everyone. The young biker froze, his bravado instantly replaced with fear. Jack leaned in, his voice low but firm. "This isn't about strength. It's about knowing when to walk away." The leader, now fully shaken, barked at his crew. "Let's go, now." One by one, they roared off into the distance, leaving behind the tension they had brought with them. As the neighborhood began to breathe again, Mark clapped Jack on the shoulder. "You've still got it," he said with a small grin. But as Jack turned to head back to his porch, he noticed something on the ground, a patch one of the bikers had dropped. It bore an unfamiliar symbol, one that hinted this encounter might have been more than a random act of arrogance. Jack picked it up, his expression unreadable, and walked back inside, leaving the neighbors wondering if this was truly the end, or the beginning of something bigger. As Jack sat back on his porch, the neighborhood slowly returned to its quiet rhythm. Mark stayed for a moment, leaning against the railing. "You think they'll be back?" he asked, nodding toward the patch in Jack's hand. Jack turned it over, studying the symbol, his expression thoughtful. "Maybe," he replied. "But if they do, they'll know this place isn't an easy target." The neighbors, emboldened by what they had witnessed, began to step out of their homes, offering small smiles and waves of gratitude. The young boy with the baseball bat approached Jack timidly. "You are amazing, sir," he said, eyes wide with admiration. Jack smiled, patting the boy on the shoulder. "Courage isn't about fighting. It's about protecting what matters." As the sun set, Jack and Mark exchanged a knowing look. Peace had returned for now.